Alright,
Choose where to join your fellows.
I'm gonna show exactly what I was talking about the other night, because what's going on right now perfectly shows exactly what I was talking about. So, like I explained, the Major Order started with us moving towards Cyberstan. We had to take Lazoth, then we went to Court Bay, then we went to Merak, and then there was a bunch of retardation that went on with people jumping back and forth and complete disorganization. The moves that the mass amount of the I'm going to say the blob of players were going with, the planets they were going towards and fighting on, didn't make sense and was for sure not the most strategic. It was probably like the worst maneuver we could have made. And again, that has to go with people not really understanding how this works. We currently hold Merak, and we need to take Murga 4 in order to get the Cyberstan right now. We do not need to take Aurora Bay. Please explain to me why we only have 23,000 players on this, and almost everybody else is on Aurora Bay right now. We don't need to take this planet. It doesn't make sense to take this planet, and we only have about half our reinforcements left of 100 million Helldivers. This just perfectly tells me that the people fighting on here right now just simply do not understand how this works. They're seeing the blinky light on there, they see the big red star, and they see hold Aurora Bay when the order expires, but they didn't read the option part, nor they probably don't really understand that, hey, we don't really need to take this. These people don't pay attention to how this works. It's fine on normal play, but during a special event like this, people really need to be able to reach out to these players and explain, hey, what's going on, this is what's going on. Obviously, to some extent, you're going to get responses like, I don't really give a shit, I'm just jumping in to have fun, which is fine on that, but I guarantee you most players, if they were coordinated properly and explained, hey, here's what's going on, here's what we need to do, and you had people in the community going, hey, go here, do this, do that, in-game specifically, there needs to be a way to do this in-game, because these people jumping in don't pay attention to the socials that much. I explained this the other day. Like I said, they probably just see a trailer, hear from their buddy, like, oh, there's a new event going on, new update, and then they jump in, play the new thing, play the new content for like a week or two, and then they jump out, and then we go back to our normal player numbers. If you're going to do a major event like this where we need to strategize, and especially need to be careful on how many reinforcements we're using and give us a limit on how many divers we have, there needs to be a way to coordinate with these people. And I know these people don't pay attention, or they just don't understand how these things work, because again, why would there be most of the player on Aurora Bay right now instead of Murga 4 when tomorrow the update drops and we need to have access to Cyberstan? So I don't even know what they're going to do with that if we don't have Murga 4 active by tomorrow night, which it looks like at this point it's not even going to be close. So I don't know what they're going to do with that. But better yet, how I know these people probably don't even understand what the DSS is or does. Why is most of the people voting to send it to Merak to absolutely siege it? Now, the normal players know that probably makes the most sense to do, to cut them off, so when we eventually do take Murga 4, they can't just cut us off and we have infinite access to Cyberstan for the rest of the event. Again, perfectly shows that most of the players on Aurora Bay right now don't even understand how these things work, and the people who do probably just went, oh, everyone's fighting here, and the people that do know about the DSS just voted to send it there. Doesn't make any sense. Nothing that's going on with this event makes any sense. The majority, the blob of players, I'm just going to call them the blob of players that completely did the clusterfuck at these two planets earlier with the defense campaigns, instead of doing anything smart, completely are just jumping around with like a chicken with their head cut off and don't actually understand what they're doing. There's zero coordination. You're not going to coordinate these people by just sending out a dispatch, which they haven't even done that. Yeah, it's by the time we get the Cyberstan, it's going to look like we have, I'm going to just take a wild guess, probably anywhere between like 70 to 80 million Helldiver reinforcements left, maybe 85 if we're lucky. Keep in mind, when we did the Battle of Super Earth, 120 million Helldivers died during that battle alone, and anybody who's experienced would say overall it's fairly easier to die less on Illuminate than it is on bots because of the amount of ragdolling and bullshit like War Striders do. So I just need to say that. Again, this just perfectly proves my point of what I was talking about. The devs absolutely have to implement mechanics to expand information on the Galactic War map, even if they don't add it on the map themselves, even if they don't add it on the map itself. They need to add some UI element, some menu, some, I mean, people call it a bestiary, but like it doesn't even need to be that where you're describing like enemies. Like I get they don't want to do that. I mean, there is a way they could do it while still keeping some mechanics hidden, but that's beside the point. They need to add a encyclopedia menu, just something where people can go somewhere, pull up tutorial descriptions, and just be able to do a quick read with easy descriptions, just giving a basic outline on, hey, this is the DSS, this does that, here's how the Galactic War maps, here's how defense campaigns work, here's how gambits work. There's not even any icons showing that a gambit's possible. Like there's nowhere in the game signifying a gambit's possible. The only times that anything's even been remotely alluded to it is the few times they send out a dispatch when the player base is going full retard, because again, most people probably don't even understand you can do that because there's zero descriptions in the game. There's a fundamental flaw in the devs' vision of, oh, they want the community to coordinate this thing. It's a nice idea, but unfortunately there's way too many players that don't play consistently, and even for the ones that do, there's just, the player base is just way too big to have a consolidation of people who follow community stuff, follow what people are saying on Discord or Reddit, or what YouTubers are suggesting, just stuff like that. There's just not enough information, not enough people paying attention, and then it's a clusterfuck every single time. There's no strategy. Like I guarantee it would be a lot cooler. It would be a lot cooler. It would be a lot more interesting if the devs themselves had to play strategically, because the player base was able to coordinate and be smart about this. But again, when you have this many players just not knowing what they're doing and just jumping in occasionally during seasonal events, it's never going to happen. So there needs to be a change made. All right, see you guys.